It's Snapshot Day! I've got a video on how to do shaders working already. It's in the description. But what is this? What is this? What is that? What's that? Is that a new Redstone component? New Redstone component? In a 1.20 snapshot? We've got a bunch of cool new things they've got for us, but we'll get to that in a second. So apparently there's something about Amethyst, but they weren't particularly clear on it. So there's some kind of resonance that's going to happen. So the first question I want to ask is, how does it work? So placing a block down, 12 and 12. Yeah, so it looks like they are working exactly the same. So it sounds to me like you can put these next to any sculk sensor. So how does that allow us to move vibration frequencies along? If we set off this one, it won't be able to trigger that one right there. Oh. So this is the piston trick. I've been using pistons to do this. So before, you couldn't transmit things from one sculk sensor to another sensor. This re-emits the signal. Here's something good to know. So it works for radial 8-block distance. So see that? The one that is exactly square away is not going to work. Now you can chain them together. I've already shown how to do this using redstone, but now there's no redstone needed. Now you can just use amethyst. You can check out that video. I'll put it in the top right. And see, now watch this. When I step over here, that's going to go kablooey. And dun 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 dun. Kablooey! But what's the deal with this thing? According to what I'm reading, this allows us to filter out certain sounds, which is a long overdue need. You can put an input right here, and it will only pick up certain sounds. So, I'm going to set up 15 lectern pages for our controller. In theory, when it's set to 4 like this, now it's going to detect any sound. This is only going to accept elytra sounds. See that? So it heard me on an elytra, but not on any of the other sound effects. We could also make it detect just blocks being broken or blocks being placed now. We can set this to, let's say 12, and 12 will only detect when a block is broken. If you wanted to do blocks being placed, well, set 13, and now it detects anytime you place a block. So blocks being placed, it has an alarm bell. It used to be, if you wanted to send a signal of a chest closing, that was going to be, I think it was 14, and now it's 9. Watch this. See that? 9. And it sets off this when I've got it configured to 9. So they've moved everything around. I just did this for ease of visibility. You can actually put these much closer together. You can just configure it like this. Now let's go through all the changes for this snapshot. Some of them are incredible. Now we've got Wayfinder, Razor, Shaper, and Host new smithing templates from these trail sites they've added, and a silence armor trim in the deep dark ancient cities. So here's the new ones in all their glory. These are pretty neat, different designs. I like the kind of ribs right here, and I kind of like how the Shaper one kind of has this like sleek look to it, and it's minimalistic. But this one goes nuts. This one goes hard. You're like an actual freaking warden. Something else to know is now they've got these blowing kind of in the wind instead of going straight down now, so that's a neat particle change. We found out that this pitcher plant was real after all. Turns out the leak was legitimate. Now when you breed these guys, they drop an egg. We haven't seen where an egg gets tossed. See, look, now they will pop this out and drop this on the ground. And this is a big one we can hatch. So that's how they work now. Look at all these new pottery designs they made. Isn't that neat? There's so many to pick from here. You can pause it and look at them. We got a fishing rod. We've got potions, fire, creeper, really creepy looking warden, sniffers. We've got this chest. I think we already had the diamond one. But there's just so many to pick from. What's that? Kind of reminds me of either a villager or an iron golem. The howl one is a doggy. Here's something I don't see people talking about. They've made dual walking sounds for things like carpet and snow blocks. So when you walk on them, you get the sound of both blocks. In addition to adding suspicious sand, they've added suspicious gravel for some of these new archaeology sites they're going to have. I'm going to show you how to do this in another video, but you can actually modify what's inside of it. I put a diamond in that on purpose. Oh, and one last massive change. You can actually, not only can you come over to a sign and right-click it and edit it, so we can add changes to a sign now, you can also put something on the back. And so now you can edit that again. But how do you keep this from being edited? Simple. You wax it with a honeycomb. Now it can't be edited. Makes a funny sound though. You can also edit these too. Goodbye. Isn't that neat? Isn't that neat? I think that's neat. Oh, that's right. I can fix my mistakes now. Look at that. All right, I think that's all we got time for today. Thanks to my patrons, and I will see you in the next one.